So where I live, it's hot. Like today, as of the day I'm filming this, we're talking about 112 degrees. So wearing fragrances in this type of weather can be a little, you want to make sure you have the right ones. And so I've got 5 out of my personal collection of things that I think will work well in the summertime, because where I am, that I mentioned, it's hot. All right, stick around. I got some things. All right, so welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to SmellGoodz. My name is Kevin. This is the channel where I kind of discuss my fragrance journey, the collection that I have, as well as the collection that I am growing through a variety of things like decants, blind buys, and samples. So this is content that you enjoy. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe, hit the like, request notifications, share, and then meet me in the comments. In fact, let me know what scent you are wearing today. What is your scent of the day that you are watching this? Would love to hear that. Maybe see if I can discover some other things that I might want to put my nose on. All right. So as I mentioned, it's hot where I live in Phoenix, Arizona. 112 degrees in the summer. That's kind of where we rock, right? But wearing fragrances in this heat, you want to make sure, for me, I want to make sure it's something that feels fresh, feels light, something that I can rock in the summertime. I don't wear my gourmand fragrances. I don't wear my heavy oud fragrances, although there are some that I may break out just every now and then if the social event or the situation is right. But got some fragrances in my collection I was going through and saying, what are ones that I really am using a lot, especially in this high heat weather? So the first one I've got is actually one I wore today. So Burberry Touch. Picked this up not too long ago, or got this not too long ago, or actually like last week or so. And kind of was a blind buy or blind get. But it turned out really well. This is a very fresh scent for me. When it dries down, or it starts off really fresh, soapy clean, if you will. But when it dries down for me, this one dries down almost powdery. Now, not like feminine baby powder or anything like that, but it does dry down somewhat powdery. You can still get the notes in there, the musk in there, what have you. But it works really well. And this one, as I mentioned, I wore this today in high heat. I actually even preached today, the church that I'm helping out at. I preached today, and afterwards, and I move around, I sweat a little, what have you. Even with all of that, I could still smell it. Yes, of course, on my clothes, but I could still smell it as a skin scent several hours later. So this one definitely holds up in the high heat. It holds up under pressure, in my opinion, and is a good buy, good deal. You can get this at your rack stores for like $30-$40 for a bottle, and on the discounters as well. So that's one I would definitely recommend that you may pick up and add to your collection. Check it out. Again, that's Burberry Touch. All right. The next one that I want to talk about is, let's go with the OG. What I mean by the OG, before I really started becoming or getting involved and really actively collecting fragrances, actively trying to build kind of my repertoire, my things as far as my SmellGoodz. I had picked up this bottle a while back. I actually picked up a bigger bottle a while back. And then when I emptied that one out, I got a new one. And you can see I put quite a hefty dent in it. This is actually almost out. The soldier's about ready to go to fragrance heaven. But this is Nautica Voyage. And this is one, I call it an OG just because most people will probably talk about this one because it is a cheapie, I should say. It is something that you can get very cheap. I think I got like a 6.7 ounce bottle for like $30-$45 at one of those like Perfumania stores that you find in the mall. And so this bottle I know is like 15, 19, something like that. You can get it really inexpensive, really cheap. Some people don't particularly care for it. It's almost like a cucumber smell to it at times, but on my skin, it works really great. Doesn't have beast mode projection or beast mode longevity, but it does stick around for what I would, want something, especially during the summer, to stick around for 5 to 6 hours max is kind of where you might find that it sticks around. It does not project overly well, so it's not something that people are gonna smell you from 100 yards away, but it is something that you can still smell on yourself after a while, and of course people are close to you, they'll smell it. It's a nice scent that you can check out, take note of. In fact, let me kind of go over the notes for you here. On this one, the notes are, it starts off with green leaves and apple, and then middle notes are lotus and mimosa, and then down at the base notes you have musk, cedar, oak moss, and amber. I pick up, initially I pick up some of that greenness, some of that apple. Like the dry down, I said, it does sometimes turn into what feels like or smells like a cucumber, even though that's not one of the notes. That's kind of what I get, but it's not a bad cucumber. It's just kind of that, it's a smell that you might, if you're with your pH, with your skin, it may not always work for you. For me, it works well, but this is something that, again, you can get pretty inexpensive, definitely a cheapie that you can pick up, and definitely help you make it through these summer months. All right, next one I've got is, let's go with one that was a little surprising. This one was a pickup for me, St. Bart's Seascape, Tommy Bahama St. Bart's Seascape. I picked this up, my wife and I, we were on a ministry trip in Tulsa, and I needed to go and try and find something for another event that I was going to be doing either later that week or something like that. And I was just like, let's see what they've got in this particular store in Burlington. And got there, I saw something, and I use Fragrantica sometimes. This is one of my tips. I use Fragrantica sometimes to see kind of what I already have, or if I'm looking at picking up something that may be a blind buy, I use the tool in there to kind of help me to see kind of if it goes along with something else that I have in my collection or something else that I have my eye on. And so this definitely was in the lane of other things that I've had. And so I was like, well, let's try it. Let's see. It was only $20 for this bottle. And so this is St. Bart's Seascape. This is a sea. I mean, the name's there, Seascape, right? But this just reminds me of ocean, not nasty, smelly ocean like, we were on a cruise and where we were coming out of, the ocean looked very bad. This is nice ocean scent. It starts off with bergamot, which is one of my favorite notes. And pretty much if you got bergamot in a fragrance, chances are I'm gonna like it, or at least that's what it seems like. A lot of the things that I really like or enjoy seem to have bergamot in it, but it's got bergamot and a little black pepper and sage at the top, and then it goes down to the tonka bean, cedarwood, and vetiver. And so this is not a bad one for sticking around during the summer months. It again stays on my skin, does well for 5 to 6 hours. Again, not an overall projection, and really, in my opinion, a lot of times with summer scents, things that you might wear in the summer, especially your aromatics, your C notes or things of that nature, you may not have those things stick around I should say project overall as far as like just beast mode projection. But a lot of the ones that I have here do seem to stick around for a reasonable amount of time. I'm not expecting for a scent like these to stick around for 12 and 18 hours and what have you, but they do sometimes stick around, definitely longer than the 1 to 2 hours that you might get in some things. But these stick around very well for me. Again, this is Tommy Bahama's St. Bart's Seascapes. Probably plan on picking up maybe a couple more Tommy Bahamas, just they're kind of really inexpensive, and see kind of what other things they have in that line. All right, the next one is, I actually got this as basically it's a travel spray that I have. This is Prada Ocean Luna Rosa. And so this one here is one that I got. I actually was planning to take it on a cruise that my wife and I went on a couple of weeks ago. Kind of got left behind. It stayed here. I had other travel sprays, and I'll probably do another video on those travel sprays that I took with me. But Prada Ocean Luna Rosa, it's a newer one. I think this came out maybe 2 to 3 years ago. This one is another aromatic one that does get into some powdery scents, if you will, and has some lavender in it and some other things. Let me put this on my test strip. Yeah, this one, I love this one. I actually kind of wish I would have taken it on there. But this is another one. As far as the notes, I'll put it up here. You can see again, you've got the bergamot, which again, I mentioned if bergamot's in it, chances are I'm going to have something, I'm going to like it. But it's also dries down to that musk. So it dries down to a musk. So this is another ocean scent, but it does do it differently than the seascapes that I just mentioned. So this is another one that on my skin sticks around, again, about 5 to 6 hours. You can get this one, designer stores or retail stores, of course, you're going to pay a little more for it. But you can get this one as far as a full bottle on, some of the discounters. You can get this for like $80 or so. So not a bad pickup especially if you're looking for maybe a designer fragrance to add to your collection. But this is a good one. Definitely. Again, this is Prada Ocean Luna Rosa. All right. And then last one, number 5. And again, this is not in any particular order. This is not, top to least or anything of that nature. These are just 5 fragrances in my collection that I am finding that I have in kind of heavy rotation throughout this summer and these hot months. And this one this is John Varvatos Artisan Blue, which in my opinion is one of the underrated designer fragrances or designer houses that's out there. I think that just as as I've been kind of watching and looking at the fragrance community, this is not something, or John Varvatos is not something that I see a whole lot of things on. Do see, of course, some things here and there, but this does not get a lot of the hype or a lot of the love, I should say, that I see from other design houses. But John Varvatos for me has always been, even before I started my collecting journey, it has always been one of those houses that I love what they put out, from John Varvatos to Vintage to Artisan and now to Artisan Blue. So this was a blind buy for me as well. But because of my experience and my love or my affinity for other things that the house has done, this is one that I picked up as well, just to pick it up. Now, if you smelled Artisan, this comes off very much like Artisan. It has that, best way I can describe it, it has that little twang that I find in Artisan. But you definitely do pick up on some marine notes, some sea notes in this. This one is, again, another aromatic fragrance that you can pick up. Again, I picked this up, I think it was like $25 on one of the discounters that I use. I think the knock against John Varvatos is that the projection and the longevity may not be what many people expect. So sometimes you're not getting the 5 to 6 hours. At least I'm not getting 5 to 6 hours on my skin all the time. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I get a little less. It definitely doesn't go away after just a couple hours. Lowest I've seen it stick around for me is probably 3 to 4 hours, maybe 5 hours, right? And so I think the knock against John Varvatos as a whole is sometimes that they may not seem to have the longevity. But again, I don't necessarily, especially where, kind of where I use these things, I don't need the beast mode projection and the beast mode performance of 15 hours. It lasts what I need it to last. And it's a great scent. It is, when it projects and when you smell it and people smell it on you, I do get compliments on this one. This is a great one. Again, you can pick it up pretty reasonably. The discounters, of course, you're going to pay more retail, but John Varvatos Artisan Blue, definitely I think this is something that you might want to add to your collection. I think it's a fairly safe blind buy, but again, don't go by what I say. Really trust your nose, trust your skin, because they will always tell you how you feel about a scent. All right, that's it. That's all that I've got for you this time. I'll probably have some other things that are coming up soon, but let me know in the comments. Again, let me know if you haven't by now. Hit that subscribe, hit the like for me, request notifications so you can know when I post new videos. But then also in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on any of the ones that I put out there today, as well as what you're currently using as your scent of the day, or what you may be using, especially where you are and the heat that you might be experiencing. That's it for this one. As always, I ask all of you in the Smell Good squad to do the following: stay safe, stay sane, and as always, stay smelling good. We'll see you next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.